A lonely middle-aged woman drastically changes her appearance to win over the heart of a hunky social media star. Surrounded by billowy drapes, Ayana Misola and a man make love on a mattress on the floor. Suddenly, the woman's mother appears as an angel and tells the daughter that she's come to take her to heaven. Eventually, the disappointed Marikar wakes from her dream, revealing that the middle-aged woman envisions her younger self as the actress Ayana Misola. Then, she looks over at her late mother's framed photograph on the table across the room and jokingly says the older woman misses her so much that she appears in her dreams. Later, Marikar moves to the home office where she works as a virtual assistant, transcribing an American doctor's voice recordings. That afternoon, Jessica, her best friend, stops by to drop off some groceries she bought for the grieving woman. Noticing Marikar's somber expression, the friend says she thinks it's time the woman went out into the world and lived her life, especially because it's been several months since her mother's death. Jessica believes she deserves to start dating and find love again. However, Marikar thinks she's too old to bother, so the friend says much older women find love in their later years. The friend adds that Marikar pushed aside her plans of marriage and having a family because she took care of her mother. Before she leaves, Jessica hands the woman a gift, an adult toy, and says she hopes her friend enjoys using it. That night, Marikar remembers her senile mother mistaking her for her father. The older woman leans in for a kiss, prompting Marikar to firmly inform her that she's her daughter. Later, the woman checks the internet for sources to help her process her grief. However, due to a misspelled word, she ends up on the social media app PikPok. Marikar discovers a profile featuring the hunky social media star Miko, who primarily posts dancing videos for his followers. For the next few days, the enamored woman spends most of her time on the app watching Miko's videos and imagining him dancing in front of her. Days later, Marikar sees a video of the influencer announcing a beach resort fan meetup with an exclusive staycation package for those who purchased his 20,000 peso merch bundle. On the day of the meetup, the woman rides a bus to the event. During a video call, Jessica admonishes her friend for spending an exorbitant amount just to meet Miko. However, when Marikar explains how he makes her happy, the friend relents and hopes she enjoys the experience. At the entrance, Miko's assistant, Val, mistakes the woman for a participant's mother, so she explains that she bought the merch. Seconds later, Nadia and Nymphette bump into Marikar and rudely ask whose mother she is. The woman stares them down and tells herself that she'd be prettier than both of them if she lost weight. Eventually, Marikar walks toward the beach where she sees the dancing Miko surrounded by his adoring fans. Val says she can take pictures with a celebrity first, then asks for her phone. However, she drops the phone in the sand, and as she picks it up, the flustered woman realizes she's at eye level with his thrusting hips. Miko thanks the fan for coming to his event and encourages her to dance with him. Seconds later, Val informs her that her time with the influencer is up. That evening, while Marikar sits on the steps in front of her cottage, she stares at the pictures with Miko earlier. Suddenly, the man appears screaming in pain and falls onto her lap. He says a jellyfish stung him and he needs her to urinate on the injury. However, the woman says she respects him too much to do such a thing but offers to treat him inside her cottage. In the room, Marikar tends to the injury on Miko's torso. Then, she offers that they share the homemade food she brought, and the man compliments her cooking. The woman says her parents must be proud of him because he's a famous celebrity. He somberly responds that they disapprove of his career and want him to move to the US because they don't consider what he does a real job. To lift his spirits, Marikar says he should be proud of his line of work because he makes people happy. Then, Miko says he doesn't plan on doing it long term since he's saving up his earnings to open a restaurant business in the future. When the influencer says he's heading out, the woman asks if they can record a pick-pack dance video together first. Outside the cottage, Val admonishes the influencer for failing to inform him of his whereabouts. Miko says the nice older woman treated his jellyfish sting, but the assistant tells him to be wary of Marikar in case she is a stalker. Then, Val shows the man pictures of Nadia and Nymphette and says they're waiting for him in his tent. Eventually, Miko sees the clothless woman by the beach and he makes love to both of them while Val records everything on his phone. Meanwhile, Marikar lies in bed and admires the influencer's shirtless pictures on her phone. Then, she takes out Jessica's gift and uses it to pleasure herself while uttering Miko's name. Moments later, she answers a video call from Jessica, frantically telling her to check the latest post on Miko's profile. The woman checks the comments on their dance video and sees hundreds of rude insults from the man's followers. They pointed out the significant age gap between her and the celebrity, and that she's too old to still be dancing online. The next day, Marikar sees Miko posing for pictures with Nadia and Nymphette and realizes the moments they shared didn't mean anything. On the bus ride home, the woman cries because she knows he'll never find find her attractive. Later, Marikar happens upon an online ad for a cosmetic surgery clinic promising potential clients the opportunity to appear more youthful. The next day, she meets Dr. Trisha for a consultation and tells the physician that she'd like to look just like the actress Ayana Misola. After the doctor enumerates the procedure she plans on doing on the patient, she says it'll amount to 500,000 pesos. Shocked, Marikar quickly leaves the room. But the clinic's commercial model, Maria, stops and convinces her not to overthink the decision. Maria tells the woman to check her pickpack profile for her real age. And to Marikar's surprise, she learns the model is in her 60s. Seeing how much cosmetic surgery made Maria look half her age, Marikar runs back to Dr. Trisha's office and says she wants the procedure. Eventually, she undergoes extensive surgery on her face and body. Days later, the doctor removes the gauze wrapped around Marikar's body to reveal the patient's new physical appearance, a successful recreation of Ayana Misola. Soon, the woman returns to the beach resort and devises a plan on how to catch Miko's attention. She bumps into the influencer, pretends she doesn't know who he is, and walks away without saying a word. The curious man follows her to the bar where she nervously chugs booze from a bottle. Minutes later, a group of men include her in their dance routine in the middle of the party, and her mysterious aura catches everyone's attention. Because her knees hurt from dancing, Marikar sits on a swing and massages her leg. Then, Miko sits on the swing next to her and introduces himself. She almost mentions her real name, but she catches herself and says she's Carrie. The man compliments her dancing earlier and offers to give her a ride home later. While on his motorcycle, Marikar holds onto Miko tightly and snuggles her face into his neck, finally able to touch him like she's always wanted. Inside the living room, he breaks the awkward silence by kissing her, so she explains that she's never made love before. He says he'd never force her to do anything she doesn't want to, so the woman emphasizes that she wants them to do the deed. Suddenly, he sees Marikar's picture on the wall, so the woman lies and says it's her aunt who asked her to look after the house while she's out of the country. Miko takes this as a sign and says he can't be Carrie's first because he respects her too much. Desperate, Marikar jumps on him and says she doesn't want his respect, but the man insists they can't make love because she's special. After the man leaves, Marikar's picture on the wall admonishes her for failing to seal the deal with Miko. She reminds herself how long it's been since she kissed or made love. The next day, she wakes up from the nightmare and answers a call from Jessica, who angrily demands to know why she hasn't responded to her calls for weeks. Later, the best friend finally sees Marikar's new appearance and asks how much she spent. The woman says $500,000 and admits that she emptied her savings and mortgaged the house to afford the procedure. Meanwhile, Nico posts a video telling his fans that he met a special lady whom he believes is the one for him. However, he doesn't think he deserves to be with someone as incredible as her. Suddenly, Marikar appears, jumps on his lap, and says they belong together. That night, they finally make love in his tent by the beach. The next day, Miko prepares breakfast for her, and she remarks that no one's ever looked after her this way before. He asks if she's never had a boyfriend, and Marikar says she never prioritized dating because she had obligations to her family. So the man says she shouldn't feel guilty for being selfish every once in a while. In the middle of pleasuring Miko, the woman realizes she still has work to do. Panicked, they head back to her house. And when she logs into her computer, her boss reprimands her for slacking at work. Even though the boss warns her not to do it again, she removes her headphones and makes love to Miko. Over the ensuing weeks, the couple spends most of their time together. Marikar appears in the influencer's videos, much to his followers' delight. One afternoon at the beach, Miko gives the woman a necklace and says it's his way of proposing that they level up from dating to an official relationship. Marikar giddily says that she accepts his proposal, and they share a kiss. During a Christmas party, Val gives the couple a book of lovemaking positions. The next day, in anticipation of the aches and pains she's about to endure, Marikar ingests medication. Then, the couple tries to reenact the different positions in the book during lovemaking. The entire time, the woman groans and complains while doing her best to contort her aging body underneath the youthful exterior. The next day, Marikar tries logging into work, but she is denied access because her boss fired her. While recording a workout video where his girlfriend sits on his back while he does push-ups, Miko notes that she seems heavier than usual. The woman says it's probably from all the food they ate during the holidays. Then, he asks if she feels alright because she looks stressed, to which Val agrees. That afternoon, the assistant shows Miko his father's messages about how much his family misses him and how they'd like him to visit them in the US. After the influencer storms off, Val tells Marikar that even if his boss doesn't like talking about his family, he knows how much he misses them. Later, the boyfriend says he's visiting his family in the US for 3 weeks and asks if she'd like to come with him. She declines because he hasn't seen his family for years, while they've seen each other every day. Marikar adds that she doesn't want him to regret not spending time with his parents. Miko realizes she's right, especially since his mother and father are in their 50s. When she learns that she's around his parents' age, Marikar expectorates the drink from her mouth, prompting the boyfriend to worriedly ask if she's okay. Then, Miko says he'll only be away for 3 weeks and asks that she wait for him. One day, Marikar sits in front of a mirror and, to her horror, sees deep wrinkles on her face. Mortified, the woman rushes to the clinic to ask Dr. Trisha for help. She covers her face with her hands, so the physician asks to take a look at her. When she lowers her hands, she's transformed back to her body before the surgery. Marikar begs the doctor to help her because she has a boyfriend who thinks she's a woman in her 20s. Dr. Trisha says their procedures last for a year, which means hers has already expired, explaining her body returning to its original form. The physician says she can give her a discount for a retouch at 450,000 pesos, but Marikar doesn't have any money left. Eventually, a nurse informs the doctor that she needs to attend to a patient. Desperate, Marikar runs into the operating room and steals random vials and a syringe. She locks herself in the restroom, and Dr. Trisha begs her to open the door. Seconds later, the woman emerges, revealing her numb face, which she carelessly injected with anesthesia. The next day, Marikar asks her best friend if she can borrow 450,000 pesos, but Jessica says she doesn't have anything close to that amount either. Suddenly, the woman's phone rings, but when she sees that it's Miko, she ignores it. Jessica asks why she won't talk to her boyfriend, and she says she doesn't want him to see what she looks like. The best friend reminds Marikar that Miko gave her the happiest year of her life and that ghosting him would break his heart. That night, the woman misunderstands a tip she read online about using vegetable oil to slow down aging, so she uses a syringe to inject the oil into her face. The next day, unnatural bumps form on Marikar's face from the injected substance, and she asks Jessica for help. Then, the friend informs her that Miko hasn't posted anything on social media for 2 months. She says people clown the influencer because Carrie ghosted him. Jessica tells Marikar that if she thinks she ruined her life with the decision she made, she might have ruined Miko's life even more. Meanwhile, the heartbroken influencer spends his nights drinking his sorrows away, unable to comprehend why Carrie left him without an explanation. Soon, the woman sends Miko a letter where she ends their relationship and thanks him for the happy memories. However, she gives a vague reason as to why they can never see each other again. The next day, the influencer drops by Marikar's house and asks Jessica where Carrie is. Because the woman doesn't want to speak to him, the friend tries to send the persistent man away. That night, the inebriated influencer tries to forget about Carrie by sleeping with Nadia and Nymphet, but he throws up on the woman before they can even start. Months later, Marikar runs into Miko at a bakery, and he asks about Carrie. The woman lies and says her niece moved to the US for good. The man says he stopped posting on social media and started a restaurant business like he's always wanted. Just as she's about to confess everything, a middle-aged woman approaches Miko. Marikar asks if she's his mother, but to her surprise, he says she's his fiancée, Girly. After the fiancée steps away, Marikar angrily hits Miko with a baguette because he never told her that he was attracted to older women this whole time. She says she should have told her from the start so she didn't have to spend all her money. Later, Marikar tells Jessica what happened, but reiterates that they've both moved on with their lives. However, the woman admits that she regrets not telling Miko the truth. The friend encourages her to come clean so everyone gets closure. Days later, the man receives a link to Marikar's video where she confessed to undergoing cosmetic surgery to become Carrie. She apologizes to Miko for lying but insists that her feelings were genuine. Then, she offers words of wisdom to the viewers. She says that there's nothing wrong with cosmetic surgery as long as you make the decision to change for yourself and not for someone else. After filming the video, Val shows Marikar the result and suggests she venture into vlogging because she has a knack for